Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 3. Krishna is the source of all incarnations. Sloka 1. Suta Uvacha Jagruhe Paurusham Rupam Bhagwanam Ahadadibhihi Sambhutam Shodashakalamado Lokasishrukshaya. Translation. Suta said, in the beginning of the creation, the Lord first expanded himself in the universal form of the Purusha incarnation and manifested all the ingredients for the material critical. And thus, at first, there was the creation of the 16 principles of material action. This was for the purpose of creating the material universe. Purport. The Bhagavad Gita states that the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna maintains these material universes by extending his plenary expansions. So, this Purusha form is the confirmation of the same principle. The original personality of Godhead Vasudeva or Lord Krishna, who is famous as the son of King Vasudeva or King Nanda, is full with all opulences, all potencies, all fames, all beauties, all knowledge, and all renunciation. Part of his opulences is manifested as impersonal Brahman, and part of his opulences is manifested as Paramatma. This Purusha feature of the same personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is the original Paramatma manifestation of the Lord. There are three Purusha features in the material creation, and this form, who is known as the Karanodakshai Vishnu, is the first of the three. The others are known as the Garbhodakshai Vishnu and Shirodakshai Vishnu, which we shall know one after another. The innumerable universes are generated from the skin holes of this Karanodakshai Vishnu, and in each one of the universes the Lord enters as Garbhodakshai Vishnu. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also mentioned that the material world is created at certain intervals and then again destroyed. This creation and destruction is done by the Supreme Will because of the conditioned souls or the Nitya Badhya living beings. The Nitya Badhya or the eternal conditioned souls have the sense of individuality or ahankara, which dictates them sense enjoyment which they are unable to have constitutionally. The Lord is the only enjoyer and all others are enjoyed. The living beings are predominated enjoyers, but the eternally conditioned souls, forgetful of this constitutional position, have strong aspirations to enjoy. This chance to enjoy matter is given to the conditioned souls in the material world, and side by side they are given the chance to understand their real constitutional position. Those fortunate living entities who catch the truth and surrender unto the lotus feet of Vasudeva after many births in the material world join the eternally liberated souls and thus are allowed to enter into the kingdom of Godhead. After this, such fortunate living entities need not come again within the occasional material creation, but those who cannot catch the constitutional truth are again merged into the Mahat Tattva at the time of annihilation of the material creation. When the creation is again set up, this Mahat Tattva is again let loose. This Mahat Tattva contains all the ingredients of the material manifestations, including the conditioned souls. Primarily, this Mahat Tattva is divided into 16 parts, namely the 5 gross material elements and the 11 working instruments or senses. It is like the cloud in the clear sky In the spiritual sky, the effulgence of Brahman is spread all round, and the whole system is dazzling in spiritual light. The Mahat Tattva is assembled in some corner of the vast unlimited spiritual sky, and the part which is thus covered by the Mahat Tattva is called the material sky. This part of the spiritual sky called the Mahat Tattva is only an insignificant portion of the whole spiritual sky, and within this Mahat Tattva there are innumerable universes. All these universes are collectively produced by the Karanodakshayi Vishnu, called also the Mahavishnu, who simply throws his glance to impregnate the material sky. Shlok 2. यस्यामपसि शयानस्य योगनिद्रां वितन्वतः नाभिरुद्धां भुजाद असीत् ब्रह्मा विश्वसृजां पतिः. Translation. A part of the Purusha lies down within the water of the universe, and from the navel lake of his body sprouts a lotus stem, and from the lotus flower atop this stem, Brahma, the master of all engineers in the universe, becomes manifest. Purport. The first Purusha is the Karanodakshayi Vishnu. From his skin holes innumerable universes have sprung up. In each and every one of them, the Purusha enters as the Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. He is lying within half of the universe, which is full with the water of his body, and from the navel of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu has sprung up the stem of the lotus flower, the birthplace of Brahma, who is the father of all living beings and the master of all the demigod engineers engaged in the perfect design and working of the universal order. Within the stem of the lotus, there are 14 divisions of the planetary systems, and the earthly planets are situated in the middle. Upwards, there are other better planetary systems, and the topmost system is called Brahmaloka or Satyaloka. Downwards from the earthly planetary system, there are 7 downwards planetary systems domiciled by the Asuras and similar other materialistic living beings. From this Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, there is expansion of the Shirodakshayi Vishnu, who is the collective Paramatma of all living beings. He is called Hare, and from him all incarnations within the universe are expanded. Therefore, the conclusion is that the Purusha avatar is manifested in 3 features. First, the Karanodakshayi, who creates aggregate material ingredients in the Mahat Tattva. Second, the Garbhodakshayi, who enters in each and every universe. And the third, Shirodakshayi Vishnu, who is the Paramatma of every material object, organic or inorganic. One who knows these plenary features of the personality of Godhead knows also Him properly, and thus the knower becomes freed from the material conditions of birth, death, old age, and disease, as it is confirmed in Bhagavat Gita. In this shloka, the subject matter of Mahavishnu is summarized. The Mahavishnu lies down in some part of the spiritual sky by his own free will, and thus he lies on the ocean of Karana, from where he glances over his material nature, and the Mahat Tattva is at once created. Thus, electrified by the power of the Lord, the material nature creates at once innumerable universes, just as in due course a tree is decorated with innumerable grown up fruits. The seed of the tree is sown by the cultivator, and the tree or creeper in due course becomes manifested with so many fruits. Nothing can take place without a cause. The Karana ocean is therefore called the casual ocean. Karana means casual. We should not foolishly accept the atheistic theory of creation. The description of the atheist is given in the Bhagavad Gita. The atheist does not believe in the Creator, but he cannot give a good theory to explain the creation. Material nature has no power to create without the power of the Purusha, just as a Prakriti or woman cannot produce a child without the connection of the Purusha. The Purusha impregnates and the Prakriti delivers. We should not expect milk from the fleshy bags on the neck of the goat, although they look like bristly nipples. Similarly, we should not expect any creative power from the material ingredients. We must believe in the power of the Purusha who impregnates Prakriti or nature, and because the Lord wished to lie down in meditation, the material energy created innumerable universes at once, and each of them the Lord laid himself down, and thus all the planets and the different paraphernalia were created at once by the will of the Lord. The Lord has unlimited potencies, and thus he can perform as he likes by perfect planning, although personally he has nothing to do and no one is greater than or equal to him. That is the verdict of the Vedas. श्लोक 3 यस्यावयव संस्थानेः कल्पितो लोकविस्तरः तद्वै भगवतो रूपं विशुद्धं सत्वम् अर्जितम्. Translation. It is believed that all the universal planetary systems are situated on the extensive body of the Purusha, but he has nothing to do with the created material ingredients. His body is eternally in spiritual existence per excellence. Purport. The conception of the Virat Roop or Vishwaroop of the Supreme Absolute Truth is especially meant for the neophyte who can hardly think of the transcendental form of the personality of Godhead. To him, a form means something of this material world, and therefore an opposite conception of the Absolute is necessary in the beginning to concentrate the mind on the power extension of the Lord. As stated above, the Lord extends his potency in the form of the Mahatattva, which includes all material ingredients. The extension of power by the Lord and the Lord himself personally are one in one sense, but at the same time, the Mahatattva is different from the Lord. Therefore, the potency of the Lord and the Lord are simultaneously different and non-different. The conception of the Virat Roop, especially for the impersonalist, is thus non-different from the eternal form of the Lord. This eternal form of the Lord exists prior to the creation of the Mahatattva, and it is stressed here that the eternal form of the Lord is par excellence spiritual or transcendental to the modes of material nature. The very same transcendental form of the Lord is manifested by his internal potency, and the formation of his multifarious manifestations of incarnations is always of the same transcendental quality without any touch of the Mahatattva. श्लोक 4 पश्यन्त्यदो रूपम अदभ्रचक्षुषा सहस्रपादो रुभुजानन अद्भुतं सहस्रम अर्धश्रवणाक्षिनासिकं सहस्रमूल्यम अम्बरकुण्डलोलसत. Translation. The devotees with their perfect eyes see the transcendental form of the Purusha who has thousands of legs, thighs, arms, and faces, all extraordinary. In that body, there are thousands of heads, ears, eyes, and noses. They are decorated with thousands of helmets and earrings and are adorned with garlands. Purport. With our present materialized senses, we cannot perceive anything of the transcendental Lord, our present senses are to be rectified by the process of devotional service, and then the Lord becomes Himself revealed to us. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed that the transcendental Lord can be perceived only by pure devotional service. So, it is confirmed in the Vedas that devotional service can lead one to the sight of the Lord, and devotional service only can reveal Him. In the Brahma Samhita, also it is said that the Lord is always visible to the devotees whose eyes have been anointed with the tinge of devotional service. So we have to take information of the transcendental form of the Lord from persons who have actually seen Him with perfect eyes smeared with devotional service. In the material world, also, we do not always see things with our own eyes but through the experience of those who have actually seen or done things. If that is the process for experiencing a mundane object, it is more perfectly applicable in matters transcendental. So, with patience and perseverance, only we can realize the transcendental subject matter regarding the absolute truth and his different forms. He is formless to the neophytes, but he is in transcendental form to the expert servitor. श्लोक 5 एतत् नाना अवताराणां निधानं बीजम् अव्ययं यस्यां शांशेन सृज्यन्ते देवतिर्यान नर आदयः. Translation. This form, the second manifestation of Purusha, is the source and indestructible seat of multifarious incarnations within the universe, and from the particles and portions of this form, different living entities like demigods, men, and others are created. Purport. The Purusha, after creating innumerable universes in the Mahat Tattva, enters in each of them as the second Purusha, Garbhadharakasya Vishnu. When he saw that within the universe there is all darkness and space only without a resting place, he filled up half of the universe with water out of his own perspiration and laid himself down on the same water. This water is called Garbhodaka. Then from his navel the stem of the lotus flower sprouted, and on the flower petals the birth of Brahma, or the master engineer of the universal plan, took place. Brahma became the engineer of the universe, and the Lord Himself took charge of the maintenance of the universe as Vishnu. Brahma is generated from Rajoguna of Prakriti, or the mode of passion in the nature, and Vishnu became the Lord of the mode of goodness. Vishnu, being transcendental to all the modes, is always aloof from the materialistic affection. This is already explained before. And from Brahma there is Rudra, Shiva, who is in charge of the modes of ignorance or darkness. He destroys the whole creation by the will of the Lord. Therefore, all three, namely Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, are incarnations of the Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. From Brahma, the other demigods like Daksha, Marichadi, Manu, and many others become incarnated to generate living entities within the universe. This Garbhodakshayi Vishnu is glorified in the Vedas in the hymns of Garbhastuti, which begin with the description of the Lord as having thousands of heads, etc. The Garbhodakshayi Vishnu is the Lord of the universe, and although he appears to be lying within the universe, he is always transcendental. This is also already explained. Vishnu, who is the plenary portion of the Garbhodakshari Vishnu, is the super soul of the universal life, and he is known as the maintainer of the universe or Shirodakshari Vishnu. So, the three features of the original Purusha are thus understood, and all the incarnations within the universe are emanations from this Shirodakshari Vishnu. In different millennia, there are different incarnations and they are innumerable, although some of them are very prominent, such as Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Ram, Narsimha, Vamana, and many others. These incarnations are called Leela incarnations. Then there are qualitative incarnations such as Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva or Rudra, who take charge of the different modes of material nature. Lord Vishnu is non different from the personality of Godhead. Lord Shiva is in the marginal position between the personality of Godhead and the living entities or jivas. Brahma is always a jiva tattva, the highest pure living being or the greatest devotee of the Lord is empowered with the potency of the Lord for creation, and he is called Brahma. His power is like the power of the sun reflected in valuable stones and jewels. When there is no such living being is to take charge of the post of Brahma, the Lord himself becomes a Brahma and takes charge of the post. Lord Shiva is not an ordinary living being. He is the plenary portion of the Lord, but because Lord Shiva is in direct touch with material nature, he is not exactly in the same transcendental position as Lord Vishnu. The difference is like that between milk and curd. Curd is nothing but milk, and yet it cannot be used in place of milk. The next incarnations are the Manas. Within 1 day's duration of the life of Brahma, which is calculated by our solar year as 43 lakh into 1,000 years, there are 14 manas. Therefore, there are 420 manas in 1 month of Brahma and 5040 manas in 1 year of Brahma. Brahma lives for 100 years of his age, and therefore there are 5040 into 100 or 5 lakh manas in the duration of Brahma's life. There are innumerable universes with one Brahma in each of them, and all of them are created and annihilated during the breathing time of the Purusha. Therefore, one can simply imagine how many billions of manas there are during one breath of Purusha. The Manus who are prominent within this universe are as follows: Yajna as Swayambhuva Manu, Vibhu as Savaroshisa Manu, Satyasena as Uttam Manu, Hari as Tamasa Manu, Vaikuntha as Revata Manu, Ajita as Chakshusha Manu, Vamana as Vaivasvata Manu. The present age is under the Vaivasvata Manu. Sarvabhuma as Savarni Manu, Rasabha as Daksha Savarni Manu, Vishwasena as Brahma Savarni Manu, Dharma Setu as Dharma Savarni Manu, Sudama as Rudra Savarni Manu, Yogeshwara as Deva Savarni Manu, and Brahad Bhanu as Indra Savarni Manu. These are the names of one set of 14 Manus covering 43 lakh into 1000 solar years as described above. Then there are the Yuga Avtaras or the incarnations of the millennia. The Yugas are known as Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. The incarnations of each Yuga are of different color. The colors are white, red, black, and yellow. In the Dwapara Yuga, Lord Krishna in black color appeared, and in the Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya in yellow color appeared. So, all the incarnations of the Lord are mentioned in the revealed scriptures. There is no scope for an impostor to become an incarnation, for he must be mentioned in the Shastras. An incarnation does not declare himself to be an incarnation of the Lord, but great sages agree by the symptoms mentioned in the revealed scriptures, the features of the incarnation, and the particular type of mission which he has to execute are mentioned in the revealed scriptures. Apart from the direct incarnations, there are innumerable empowered incarnations. They are also mentioned in the revealed scriptures. Such incarnations are directly as well as indirectly empowered. When they are directly empowered, they are called incarnations, but when they are indirectly empowered, they are called vibhutis. Directly empowered incarnations are the Kumaras, Narada, Pruthu, Shesha, Ananta, etc. As far as vibhutis are concerned, they are very explicitly described in the Bhagavad Gita in the Vibhuti Yoga chapter. And for all these different types of incarnations, the fountainhead is the Garbhadakshayi Vishnu. श्लोक 6 स एव प्रथमं देवः कौमारं सर्गम् आश्रिताः चचार दुश्चरं ब्रह्मा ब्रह्मचर्यं खण्डितम्. Translation. First of all, in the beginning of creation, there were the four unmarried sons of Brahma, the Kaumaras, who, being situated in a vow of celibacy, underwent severe austerities for realization of the absolute truth. Purport. The creation of the material world is effected, maintained, and then again annihilated at certain intervals. So there are different names of the creations in terms of the particular types of Brahma, the father of the living beings in the creation. These Kaumaras, as above mentioned, appear in the Kaumara creation of the material world and to teach us the process of Brahman realization. They underwent a severe type of disciplinary action of bachelors. These Kaumaras are empowered incarnations, and before executing the severe type of disciplinary actions, all of them became qualified Brahmanas. This example suggests that one must first acquire the qualifications of the Brahman, not simply by birth but also by quality, and then one can undergo the process of Brahman realization. Shlok 7. Dvitiyam tu bhavayasya rasatalagatam mahim udvarishyanupadatya yadneshaha saukaram vapuhu. Translation. The supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices accepted the incarnation of a boar, the second incarnation, and for the welfare of the earth, he lifted the earth up from the nether regions of the universe. Purport. The indication is that for each and every incarnation of the personality of Godhead, the particular function executed is also mentioned. There cannot be any incarnation without a particular function, and such functions are always extraordinary. They are impossible for any living being to perform. The incarnation of the boar was to take the earth out of Pluto's region of filthy matter. Picking up something from a filthy place is done by a boar, and the all powerful personality of Godhead displayed this wonder to the Asuras, who hid the earth in such a filthy place. There is nothing impossible for him, and although the personality of Godhead played the part of a boar, Still by the devotees he is worshipped, staying always in transcendence.